God may protect me against my friends. With my enemies, I can deal myself alone. You know how people are. They catch a word, and then everything is schematized along that word. There is no such thing as a pure extrovert or a pure introvert.
The path of the chosen is silent. Crowds move around them, unaware, while their steps carve a lonely rhythm into the earth. No one truly sees the weight they carry, the visions that pull them forward, or the battles fought in the shadows of their mind. Connection is fleeting, understanding is rare. To walk this path is to embrace solitude, not as punishment but as inevitability. Every choice, every insight, every spark of destiny sets them apart. The world keeps spinning, indifferent, while they navigate a terrain only they can feel. A journey defined not by companionship, but by the quiet power of walking alone. The burden of knowing. Some people carry a knowing that cannot be shared, a quiet truth that pulses beneath the surface while the world hums along unaware. It is not always loud or dramatic, this inner awareness. It often whispers, nudges, or glimmers in moments when no one else is paying attention. Those who bear it sense patterns, see possibilities, and feel the weight of unseen purpose. Ordinary life, with its routines, its small demands, its small talk, can feel confining, even trivial, as if walking through a room where every door is slightly too narrow for the soul. There is a paradox here. To know something deeply, yet have no one fully recognize it, is both a gift and a burden. People respond with curiosity at first, perhaps admiration, but soon confusion, doubt, or subtle resistance appears. Like the blind men and the elephant, each person touches a part of the truth but cannot perceive the whole. One feels the trunk and imagines a snake, another the leg and imagines a tree. The chosen one moves through a world full of partial understanding, always a step beyond what others can see. Misinterpretation is inevitable. Even those who mean well cannot grasp the entirety, and that creates a solitude that is both external and internal. Carl Jung described the self as the totality of one's being, distinct from the persona, the mask we present to the world. For the chosen one, the persona is necessary, like a shield or a costume that allows them to navigate ordinary life. But the self, the deep core that knows its purpose, often speaks in different rhythms, in tones and currents invisible to the crowd. Listening to the self can feel like tuning into a frequency no one else can hear, a melody that is both exhilarating and isolating. Everyday conversations, the pull of social expectation, can feel dissonant, as if everyone else is playing the wrong instrument. This awareness does not announce itself with grandiosity. Often it is subtle, a recurring dream, an inexplicable sense of direction, a resonance with certain ideas that others dismiss as abstract or fanciful. The burden is in knowing how different life could be, how deep and vast experience can stretch, even while everyone else appears content within their familiar boundaries. The chosen one becomes aware of invisible roads, of doors that remain closed to others, and they feel both compelled and hesitant to walk them. There is pressure, internal and external, to conform, to meet expectations, yet the knowing pulls insistently. Isolation is not always solitude by choice. The more the chosen one recognizes the fullness of what they are called to see, the less the world aligns with them. Friends and loved ones may love them, yet cannot fully enter that inner landscape. The feeling of walking alongside others while simultaneously moving on a parallel path is common, and yet this separation is not punishment. It is preparation, a quiet apprenticeship of the soul. The world cannot nurture the vision until the vision has been understood internally, integrated into the being. Even in the quietest moments when no one is watching, the mind hums with questions. Am I meant to be here? Am I enough? How do I carry this unseen weight without it consuming me? The answers are rarely verbal. They are felt. They unfold through reflection, through intuition, through the small acts of living that honor the self rather than the persona. And it is through this tension, between the world's partial vision and the chosen one's deeper understanding, that the inner light begins to sharpen, illuminating both shadow and possibility. Some days, the knowing feels like a gentle hand guiding forward. Other days it's a burden that presses against the chest, heavy with responsibility and clarity that others cannot share. Yet the journey is never aimless. Each misstep, each moment of being misunderstood, contributes to a deeper comprehension of the path. The gift of this burden is that it trains the soul to discern between noise and signal, between what is superficial and what is essential. And so, the chosen one moves forward, carrying a vision unseen by others, learning to navigate a life guided more by inner knowing than by the world around them. The silence within. Silence can be loud. For the chosen one, it is not the absence of sound, but the presence of something more, an internal space where clarity and vision gather like sunlight through a quiet forest canopy. The world around them continues to hum with chatter, opinions and expectations, yet within, a calm persists, a rhythm unbroken by the noise outside. This silence is not emptiness. It is alive, charged with observation, reflection, and insight that cannot be hurried or forced. Walking through a crowded room, the chosen one often feels as if they are moving underwater. Conversations brush past, intentions float by, but few penetrate the protective cocoon of inner focus. Lao Tzu spoke of the Tao as a path of harmony, achieved not through action alone but through alignment with the natural flow. In this quiet, alignment begins. Decisions, inspirations, even warnings emerge not from argument or debate, but from a patient listening to the subtle currents of life. The external world may clamour, but the inner compass remains untouched. The silence also functions as a shield. People may misunderstand, judge, or attempt to distract, but the chosen one has learned to inhabit a largely invisible place, a sanctuary where the self can breathe. In moments when the crowd grows insistent, this internal space becomes a refuge. It is where mistakes are processed, where fear is named without judgment, where the soul whispers truths too fragile for casual ears. The quiet is not avoidance, it is preparation, a laboratory for the mind and spirit to refine their instruments before confronting the noise again. Yet the solitude is not a mere retreat. In stillness, the chosen one senses subtle harmonies and connections others cannot perceive. Rumi spoke of listening to the soul rather than the crowd, trusting the quiet voice within over the clamour of collective expectation. Ideas arise, insights crystallize, and choices take on a depth that would be impossible amid constant distraction. It is here that visions of purpose are tested and nurtured, emerging from silence like seedlings breaking through fertile soil. The paradox is that silence can feel both protective and isolating. There is a tension between the need for reflection and the pull of companionship, the desire to share insight and the reality that most cannot receive it fully. Others may offer advice, reassurance, or critique, but it rarely resonates with the depth the chosen one inhabits. Their hearing is attuned to a different frequency, a signal mostly drowned out by ordinary voices. Misalignment between inner clarity and outer expectation can feel like swimming against a strong current, exhausting yet necessary for growth. Every quiet morning, every moment of stillness teaches a subtle truth. Clarity requires patience. Not all knowing comes at once, and the mind often resists the lessons of silence. Frustration, doubt, and longing appear like shadows along the path, but the chosen one learns to watch them without clinging, letting the currents carry each emotion in turn. Even restlessness has its place. It sharpens awareness, a gentle reminder that inner space is alive, not static. In this stillness, the chosen one begins to perceive patterns where others see chaos. Relationships, events, decisions, each carries echoes, resonances, and consequences invisible to the casual observer. The quiet is a crucible in which subtle truths become undeniable. The more the chosen one listens inwardly, the less they are swayed by the constant tide of opinion. This is not arrogance, it is survival, a trust in the rhythm of the self over the rhythms imposed by the outside world. In time, the chosen one grows at ease in solitude, seeing that silence is neither deprivation nor penalty, but the very conduit of clarity. The lessons are gentle yet profound, guiding toward discernment in both thought and action. Every pause, every moment of inward attention shapes the ability to navigate relationships and encounters with a balance few can imagine. Moments of stillness reveal the hidden patterns in conversations, the unspoken tensions and the energies that shape each encounter. It is in these pauses that the Chosen One senses who can walk beside them and who will reflect only confusion or distraction. While silence imparts its lessons, the outside world waits with mirrors and shadows, poised to challenge what the Chosen One has grasped. Mirrors and shadows. Reflection is never neutral. The Chosen One moves through the world and sees glimpses of themselves in others, but not always clearly. Admiration can be thinly veiled with envy. Curiosity may carry suspicion. People respond to their uniqueness with a mixture of fascination and fear, often unaware that what unsettles them is not the Chosen One, but their own unacknowledged desires, doubts, and limitations. Projection is subtle, yet persistent. Psychological studies show that humans often project internal fears and insecurities onto others, and the Chosen One becomes a canvas for this unconscious work. A visionary idea might provoke outrage not because it is wrong, but because it exposes blind spots in the observer. A quiet confidence can stir jealousy in someone who doubts themselves. Even kindness can be misread as condescension. The world, in this way, becomes a hall of mirrors, reflecting distorted fragments of who the Chosen One is and who others are afraid to face in themselves. Historical echoes reinforce this pattern. Galileo, for example, discovered truths that unsettled the established order, and the world reacted not to his vision, but to what that vision implied about their understanding of reality. Ostracized, ridiculed, and forced to recant publicly, he became a living lesson in the tension between perception and truth. The Chosen One, too, often encounters this invisible resistance, an external push that mirrors the internal friction of seeing clearly, while others see only fragments. Relationships become a delicate navigation of energy and perception. Some are drawn in by brilliance, yet cannot sustain closeness because the reflection makes them uncomfortable. Others attempt to mimic or control, hoping to align the Chosen One's world with their own limited lens. It is not rejection in its simplest form. It is the meeting of realities that do not yet fit together, a clash of vision and expectation. The Chosen One senses which reflections are constructive, which are misleading, and which are shadows to be acknowledged without attachment. This experience sharpens discernment. Solitude in Chapter 2 trained the Chosen One to hear the inner voice. Now, mirrors in the external world challenge them to trust that voice against distortion. Each misinterpretation, each judgment, teaches an essential lesson. Clarity is not granted by applause or agreement. It emerges from the careful practice of listening inwardly, while observing outwardly, balancing engagement with detachment. Try as one might, the shadows are ever present. People may speak with warmth, yet act out of fear. They may celebrate innovation while resenting it in private. The Chosen One learns to read between words and gestures, understanding that the reflection often says more about the other person than about themselves. There is grief in recognizing that closeness can be conditional, that admiration may fracture when it confronts the unfamiliar, and yet, these mirrors also hold gifts, opportunities to see oneself through an external lens, to understand how influence travels, and to practice patience with both self and world. The most ordinary moments of interaction gain unexpected depth. A casual conversation may reveal hidden envy, a compliment may carry silent judgment. The Chosen One grows attuned to these subtle currents, learning to respond not from defensiveness, but from grounded awareness. Misunderstandings are inevitable, but they are also lessons in perception and patience, teaching how to navigate the complex terrain of human reflection without losing the inner voice cultivated in silence. Through all of this, the Chosen One begins to recognize that mirrors and shadows are not enemies. They are guides, though sometimes harsh, showing where boundaries are needed and where clarity must be maintained. The balance between solitude and relational engagement is delicate. Each reflection must be met with both discernment and compassion. Each reflection in others acts as a lens, revealing both hidden strengths and vulnerabilities the Chosen One may overlook. Some encounters illuminate paths previously unseen, while others warn of energies that could divert or deplete their focus. Over time, they learn to move among people without losing the rhythm of their own awareness, reading both the shadows and the light with quiet discernment. The inner guidance moves quietly, even as the world's shadows shift around them. Trusting the unseen compass, they step forward into the path that lies ahead. The solitary compass. Early on, the Chosen One realizes that the paths of the world are not always trustworthy. Maps may be outdated, directions confusing, and advice well-intentioned but flawed. The outer path can twist unexpectedly, and yet within, a different guide exists. Quiet, unwavering, and patient. This is the solitary compass, the inner sense that moves without applause, without argument, without needing validation. It does. Not falter when the world shakes. It simply points, waiting to be followed. Solitude sharpens this internal instrument. Native American vision quests exemplify this truth. Young seekers enter the wilderness alone, without familiar comforts, to confront their fears and discover guidance that cannot be taught. The silence, the exposure, the disorientation, they are all part of a crucible. In the same way, the Chosen One learns to navigate life by listening to signals that the outside world either misses or cannot convey. The inner compass speaks in whispers, in sudden clarity, in choices that feel inevitable even when they defy logic. Time alone teaches subtle rhythms. The Chosen One begins to notice patterns in thoughts, emotions, and surroundings, as if the world itself pulses with hints and signals. Small choices accumulate, guiding larger decisions. What feels insignificant, pausing before speaking, lingering over a moment of intuition, can determine the trajectory of the path. Solitude becomes the laboratory where these experiments in awareness are tested, shaping the ability to move through complexity without losing clarity. Persistence becomes a kind of devotion. The parable of the lighthouse keeper comes to life. Night after night, storm after storm, the keeper maintains the light while the sea rages, unseen by those on land. The Chosen One functions similarly. Guidance is rarely rewarded with recognition. Sometimes it is misunderstood or dismissed entirely. Yet the light must be kept, the direction maintained, because the purpose is not contingent on applause. It exists whether anyone notices or not. Decision-making transforms under this quiet authority. Situations that appear urgent or overwhelming in the external world can be met with measured awareness when the inner compass is consulted. There is no rush, no need for constant reassurance. Even when others doubt, when mirrors reflect fear or envy, the Chosen One finds a calm center. That center is not passive. It is active, observing, weighing, and discerning. It is both a still point and a guiding force, shaping choices in a way that aligns with deeper purpose rather than superficial expectation. Trust is cultivated slowly. Doubt will always arrive, often disguised as reason or concern. Yet the Chosen One learns to differentiate between the voice of fear and the quiet insistence of insight. Mistakes are no longer failures but maps, marking areas where the inner compass has more refinement to offer. Over time, each misstep teaches resilience and sharpens the ability to respond with precision rather than reaction in the shifting currents of life. Challenges arise when instinct collides with convention. Following the inner compass may appear irrational or isolating. Friends, colleagues, and society may question or resist the choices made. And yet, the Chosen One senses that external approval is irrelevant. Clarity is cultivated internally, and the results, often slow and subtle, eventually reveal themselves. The compass does not promise immediate validation. It promises alignment with the self, with the vision, and with a path that unfolds in time. This guidance often manifests as intuition, that sudden knowing that defies explanation. A decision, a movement, a word spoken or withheld, it arises naturally from a deep, listening awareness. Over time, the Chosen One develops an intimate understanding of these rhythms, recognizing the difference between fear, desire, and insight. Even errors are instructive, revealing the subtleties of the internal map. The compass, unlike the outside world, does not demand perfection. It demands attention, practice, and honesty. The world may call solitude a burden, but for the Chosen One, it becomes a laboratory. Reflection, meditation, and careful observation turn isolation into a canvas for discovery. Every encounter, every choice, every pause is filtered through this inner guidance, allowing clarity to emerge not from circumstance, but from the steady alignment of the self. In this space, insight blossoms, vision deepens, and purpose finds its footing. Forward goes the chosen one, following a compass that points with certainty, leaning on guidance unseen yet sure, even as storms of doubt and distraction circle without overturning the internal course. The weight of light and shadow. Struggle is rarely straightforward. The chosen one walks paths that are both illuminated and obscured, where insight and uncertainty coexist. Every decision, every step forward, brings both clarity and doubt. Nietzsche spoke of becoming who you are through struggle, a process in which conflict is not a hindrance but the very forge of identity. The shadows that appear along the path are not enemies, they are teachers, revealing hidden strengths and areas where growth is essential. No action, however simple, is without consequence. A choice made in solitude may ripple outward in ways invisible at first, influencing both the internal landscape and the external world. The chosen one discovers that clarity is not a single moment of revelation, but a cumulative process, built through repeated acts of attention and courage. Darkness appears in many forms: fear, loneliness, confusion. Yet each confrontation with shadow deepens resilience, reinforcing the compass cultivated in previous chapters. Attending carefully, even in small ways, amplifies insight. A single decision to pause, to reflect before reacting, can illuminate patterns in behavior or thought that were previously invisible. The chosen one begins to notice that every choice, no matter how ordinary, contains a spark of the extraordinary. Each moment of attentiveness strengthens the ability to navigate both light and darkness, teaching that the subtle decisions often shape the broader path more than dramatic gestures. Isolation, paradoxically, becomes a source of illumination. The wandering sage of old stories often journeys alone, leaving familiar paths to uncover truths hidden in silence. In solitude, perception sharpens, distractions fade, leaving only what is essential. The chosen one, like the sage, begins to see connections invisible to others, understanding that light and shadow are not opposites but intertwined threads of the same tapestry. Each moment of struggle refines the ability to recognize these threads, weaving insight into action. Pain and revelation are rarely separated. The chosen one may stumble through periods of exhaustion, doubt, or despair, yet these same moments often precede profound clarity. Insight emerges in the quiet aftermath of difficulty, when the mind is still enough to notice subtle truths. Solitude acts as a crucible, where the heat of challenge tempers understanding, shaping the soul with patience and precision. Even the heaviness of struggle carries its own quiet gift, the knowledge that endurance itself becomes wisdom. Struggle also cultivates compassion. The chosen one sees that shadows exist in everyone, not only within themselves but in those they encounter. Pain, fear, and misunderstanding in others mirror the struggles they face internally. Recognizing this, the chosen one begins to meet others with gentleness, discerning without judgment, and offering guidance only when it aligns with deeper understanding. This balance between self-awareness and empathy becomes a cornerstone of their journey. The duality of shadow and illumination manifests in relationships as well. Encounters with others reflect both admiration and misunderstanding, support and resistance. The chosen one learns to navigate these interactions with awareness, recognizing that some shadows are projected from the world outside, while others arise from inner fears or doubts. Balance is not static. It is a practice, a negotiation between receptivity and discernment. Each encounter becomes an opportunity to refine the ability to move with clarity despite conflicting energies. Subtle moments of grace appear amid this tension. A chance conversation, an unexpected insight, a synchronistic event. These experiences confirm that solitude does not equate to abandonment. The chosen one begins to notice the hidden currents that guide, the quiet synchronies that reveal alignment with purpose. These experiences suggest that the path is not only one of struggle, but also of subtle support, that isolation and connection exist in a dynamic interplay beyond ordinary perception. Even as heaviness presses against the chest, the chosen one senses the paradoxical liberation embedded in it. Shadows heighten sensitivity, sharpening awareness, while light expands understanding, offering glimpses of possibility beyond current limitations. the process of becoming unfolds in layers, each challenge deepening the capacity for discernment, empathy, and insight. Solitude is neither punishment nor absence. It is the medium through which the Chosen One learns to hold both shadow and illumination simultaneously, discovering that the weight itself carries wisdom. First glimpses of hidden patterns emerge, showing the Chosen One's silent ways to navigate, hinting at a deeper order woven through struggle and grace. Signs along the path. The world speaks in whispers. For the Chosen One, subtle events carry meaning. An unexpected bird crossing a path, a repeated phrase in a conversation, a fleeting shadow that seems almost deliberate. These are not mere coincidences. They are confirmations, small signals that align with the internal compass cultivated through solitude. Awareness of these signs grows gradually, sharpened by reflection and attention, revealing the hidden threads that connect internal purpose with external guidance. Explorers of old often relied on intuition and the natural world to navigate unknown territories. Wind direction, star patterns, and animal behavior became their maps, guiding them through unfamiliar landscapes. The Chosen One, too, learns to read the environment, not just its physical cues, but emotional and energetic currents. Each subtle hint, each synchronicity, becomes a thread in a larger tapestry, offering reassurance and guidance that cannot be articulated in conventional language. Signs are not always grand or dramatic. A pattern in the clouds, a sudden pause in conversation, or a subtle change in the environment can carry profound meaning. The Chosen One learns to attune to these nuances, understanding that even the smallest observation can be a compass point. What seems trivial to others becomes a thread in the intricate map of the journey, guiding decisions and shaping perception in ways unseen at first. Every occurrence begins to feel interconnected. Buddhist teachings on dependent origination suggest that everything arises in relation to something else, that cause and effect are woven invisibly through all existence. The Chosen One notices how a chance encounter may ripple into opportunities or insights days, weeks, or months later. Silence, previously cultivated, allows them to detect these links, to follow the rhythm of subtle cues that most people overlook. Awareness becomes both a lens and a filter, revealing a hidden order beneath apparent randomness. Patterns are not always obvious at first. A misstep may reveal a cautionary signal, a sudden inspiration may appear as a fleeting thought, a small coincidence may hint at a broader truth. Learning to trust these signs requires patience and discernment. The Chosen One begins to distinguish between fear-driven interpretations and those that emerge from stillness and alignment. Over time, intuition becomes not a mysterious force but a practiced skill, honed through observation and reflection. Timing matters as much as content. A message or event may arrive early, late, or repeatedly, testing patience and discernment. The Chosen One begins to notice when guidance waits for readiness, when insight must be earned through attention and experience. Recognition of this rhythm strengthens trust in both the inner compass and the subtle signs that accompany it. Unexpected moments often provide guidance that feels uncanny. A meeting with a stranger may trigger insight. A book opened at random may contain precisely the passage needed. These occurrences feel like echoes of the internal compass reaching outward, bridging solitude and interaction, inner knowing and external manifestation. Each sign reinforces trust in the path, demonstrating that while the journey is walked alone, unseen forces often accompany the Chosen One. Intuition alone can bring signs, a whisper of thought, a sudden sensation, a sense of knowing without explanation. The Chosen One comes to understand that these internal signals are not random. They are the inner compass speaking, amplified by awareness and reflection. They learn to act on these signals gently, testing their resonance against the unfolding circumstances, weaving intuition with observation into a coherent guidance system. Connection persists, even in moments of being alone. The subtle signs form a dialogue between the Chosen One and the larger world. A leaf drifting across a stream, a sudden gust of wind, a bird taking flight at the right moment. These small occurrences encourage attentiveness and patience. They remind us that guidance does not always come as clarity at once, but as threads that can be followed, moment by moment, step by step if one pays attention. Both light and shadow in these signals become legible to the Chosen One. Some signs caution, some encourage, and some simply reveal hidden patterns that require reflection. Each synchronicity is a reminder that the path is alive, dynamic, and responsive. Trusting the subtle guidance nurtures a sense of security and purpose, even amid uncertainty, and validates the solitary journey undertaken in previous chapters. Not only events, but hidden connections begin to reveal themselves to the Chosen One, faint yet undeniable, steering the next step in ways beyond language. The paradox of connection. Life courses silently through the Chosen One, like a river beneath the calm of solitude. Each choice, each act of presence, sends ripples outward, touching people and circumstances in ways rarely visible. The paths of the isolated are not detached from the world. They are entwined in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. Awareness cultivated in quiet hours allows the Chosen One to sense these threads, to feel the pulse of connection beyond what the eye can see. Even small intentions carry unseen weight. A quiet choice to act with care, a fleeting thought of goodwill, or a moment of mindful attention can ripple outward, subtly shaping the circumstances of others. The Chosen One begins to recognize that influence is not always measured in grand gestures. It often flows through micro-actions, gestures, and silent attentiveness that touch the world in ways impossible to trace. Empathy deepens in isolation. The Sufi mystics teach that unity with all life comes not through outward action alone, but through inward focus, through expanding consciousness to perceive the essence that animates all beings. In silence, the Chosen One begins to inhabit this principle, noticing the unseen burdens, joys, and rhythms of others without interaction or explanation. Understanding emerges naturally, as if solitude itself tunes the senses to the invisible harmonics of existence. Recognizing connection can serve as a mirror for personal growth. By sensing the struggles and joys of the unseen whole, the Chosen One confronts their own shadows and light more clearly. Empathy becomes a two-way street. Understanding others' experiences deepens self-awareness, revealing strengths and vulnerabilities alike. This reciprocity of perception sharpens intuition and fosters clarity in decisions made both alone and in interaction. More often than not, connection is something felt, not watched. Ubuntu, the African belief that I am because we are, resonates on a metaphysical level. Even the solitary life of the Chosen One participates in the collective whole. Their awareness and presence, though not always shared physically, influence the broader flow of life. Actions, thoughts, and intentions become currents that intersect with countless unseen points, proving that isolation does not equate to separation. Insight finds its way into the Chosen One's awareness in unforeseen ways. A sudden idea, a vision, a shift in perception. These can illuminate relationships or circumstances at a distance, revealing patterns previously unnoticed. The Chosen One learns to recognize that even seemingly small gestures, or choices made silently, can have far-reaching effects. Each act of attention, each moment of alignment with inner guidance, contributes to an invisible web that connects the solitary traveler with the wider world. Timing plays a mysterious role in connection. A gesture, a thought, or an insight may only reveal its significance after days, weeks, or even years. The Chosen One learns patience in observing the subtle unfolding of consequences, trusting that the network of being operates according to rhythms far larger than immediate perception. Recognition may be delayed, but the alignment of actions and resonance continues to grow beneath the surface. The paradox becomes clear. Connection does not require constant companionship. Relationships exist beyond presence and proximity, flowing through intention, awareness, and resonance. Solitude sharpens perception, making it possible to feel and influence without the need for recognition. The Chosen One understands that being alone does not isolate them from life's larger movements. Rather, it enhances the capacity to perceive and participate in them subtly and deeply. Connection also emerges through shared energies rather than direct interaction. A song, a story, or a movement of thought can inspire, heal, or shift awareness in someone far removed from the Chosen One's physical presence. Solitude amplifies sensitivity to these energies, allowing the Chosen One to perceive how life is interwoven and responsive. The invisible network thrives in quiet awareness, showing that isolation is not emptiness, but a conduit for subtle influence. Understanding grows, even through the shadows faced on the solitary path. Misunderstandings, judgments, and the reflections of others all provide context, contrast, and texture. They act as invisible teachers, helping the chosen one discern the nuances of connection. Compassion emerges not only through shared joy, but also through observation of contrast, witnessing both suffering and growth in others without direct interaction. Occasionally, the chosen one senses the quiet balance of give and take. A kind word spoken or thought held in alignment with inner truth may resonate somewhere beyond reach, returned in forms never anticipated. The invisible threads strengthen, showing that solitude and connection are not opposites, but complementary forces. Presence, even unseen, carries weight. Awareness, even unacknowledged, shapes reality. Beneath and around the chosen one, the pulse of life beats, an invisible network that propels purpose and resonance, even in the softest stillness. The journey never ends. The path of the chosen one stretches forward without end. Each step reveals new landscapes, both internal and external, showing that discovery is not a destination but a continuous unfolding. Heraclitus' wisdom whispers here, everything flows, nothing stands still. Change is constant, and the chosen one learns to move with it, finding stability not in fixed outcomes, but in the rhythm of observation, choice, and attention. Lessons arrive unpredictably. A chance encounter, a sudden insight, a memory resurfacing, all serve as guides along the winding path. The chosen one understands that growth is iterative, emerging from repeated experience, reflection, and willingness to engage with uncertainty. Solitude provides space for these lessons to resonate, allowing understanding to deepen gradually, often in ways invisible to the outside world. Curiosity becomes a guiding companion. The chosen one notices how questions often arise before answers, how the act of wondering itself opens new pathways of insight. Even uncertainty is fertile, prompting exploration and reflection. Every question, no matter how small or seemingly trivial, can illuminate unseen aspects of self and world, turning doubt into a subtle form of guidance. Observation sharpens perception. The lone traveller parable teaches that even when walking alone, the act of witnessing is itself transformative. Every interaction with nature, thought, or event becomes part of an ongoing education. The chosen one notices patterns, rhythms, and connections that weave into a personal understanding of life's deeper currents, reinforcing that the journey itself is both teacher and terrain. Nature mirrors the journey in unexpected ways. The changing seasons, the flow of rivers, the shifting patterns of the sky, all reflect impermanence and transformation. The chosen one learns to read these signs not as literal instructions, but as reminders of the ever-changing conditions of life. Each natural rhythm reinforces adaptability and patience, showing that movement and stillness coexist seamlessly in the world. Time does not constrain the process. Days, months, and years are markers, but the chosen one moves beyond conventional measures. Each moment is an opportunity to attune to subtle signs, inner guidance, and the flow of change. Solitude cultivates patience and presence, revealing that progress is not linear but cyclical, spiraling, and layered with meaning at every turn. Encounters with others continue to resonate. Even brief or distant interactions create echoes that influence thought, action, and intuition. The chosen one recognizes that influence extends beyond immediate perception. Invisible threads connect experiences, revealing patterns that only attentive awareness can detect. Connection, though subtle, persists, a quiet affirmation of purpose and resonance throughout the ongoing journey. Memory and imagination converge as tools for navigation. The chosen one draws from past experiences and visions of possibility to anticipate challenges and notice patterns. Creativity is not separate from solitude. It thrives there, blending reflection, observation, and intuition into a subtle guidance system. In this way, the journey is both lived and imagined, a dynamic interplay between reality and insight. The paradox of movement and stillness emerges clearly. The chosen one walks continuously, yet in solitude finds a deep stillness, a center from which awareness radiates. Shadows of doubt and moments of joy coexist, each providing texture and depth. both struggle and clarity contribute to growth, reinforcing that the path is not about avoiding challenge, but engaging fully with the unfolding process. Joy and sorrow walk together along the path. The chosen one discovers that both extremes are essential for depth of perception. Moments of elation illuminate the value of presence, while struggles sharpen discernment and strengthen resilience. Neither is permanent, but each contributes to a richer understanding of life's texture, reinforcing that growth emerges from embracing both light and shadow. Thoughtful reflection takes its place as a companion. The chosen one notes how previous chapters of life echo into the present, revealing lessons revisited in new forms. Patterns emerge, yet novelty always arrives. There is no final mastery, no permanent arrival, only the continual interplay between understanding, experience, and discovery. Each step is both culmination and beginning. Moving onward with focus and presence, the chosen one follows a path that flows, shifts, and reveals itself endlessly, receptive to lessons, subtle signs, and the quiet currents of the journey. Thank you for watching and walking this journey with us. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.